Okay, hello everybody. I am First Alert meteorologist Rodney Harris, and as you know, we are in a First Alert weather day because of the potential of isolated tornadoes, primarily south of Metro Atlanta later on this afternoon. So I want to start by walking you through the timing with our high-resolution forecast model. We already have some showers out there right now, not even storms, but a few showers are out there. So just a heads up if you do have to drive or do anything this morning. We are looking for these showers to gradually turn into showers and storms after lunchtime today. So after lunch, you'll start to see some lightning strikes here and there, so watch out for that. And it's our time frame between basically lunch and 5 p.m. That's when we will see the highest coverage of rain, and also the highest risk of an isolated severe storm. You can see the final line of storms is moving through Metro Atlanta at 4 o'clock this afternoon. It's going to move through between 4 and 5, and then after 5, especially after 6 o'clock, it'll be completely dry in Metro Atlanta. So lunch until about 5 p.m. That's the time frame for these showers and storms throughout all of North Georgia. Now, for Metro Atlanta, we're really just forecasting rain and some lightning, but as you go further south, we do still have a very low-end risk of an isolated tornado, and that's what the map is that you see to the right of your screen. Everything that you see in brown, that is where you have a slightly higher risk of an isolated tornado. That does include Carroll County, also Troup County, Heard County, Meriwether, Lamar, Pike, Upson counties, and not even impossible for Spalding County. So basically south and west of Metro Atlanta is where that highest risk of an isolated tornado will be. I do want to point out that this map is different from yesterday. That risk has been shifted further south and west because we're expecting cooler temperatures in Metro Atlanta, and cool temperatures actually help to limit severe weather. We're going to have to track that for you in real time, so make sure and stay up to date and just stay weather ready the entire day today, because the risk isn't zero in Atlanta, it's just low. In addition to the rain and storms that we will see, we also have a wind advisory that is in effect for all of North Georgia, basically right now for the rest of the day, where 35-mile-per-hour wind gust is expected. So like Tuesday when a previous storm system moved through, and that brought us some gusty winds. Same thing will be possible this afternoon. Also have a high wind warning that is in effect for today. That includes the higher elevations of the mountains where wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour will be possible. And if you live higher than 2,000 feet, you could even see a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, and that's without thunderstorms. So in addition to the storms that will be impacting us today, we will also see a windy day across Metro Atlanta. So that's our First Alert weather day. Showers and storms between noon and about 5 o'clock. The highest risk of an isolated severe storm will be south and west of Metro Atlanta. This weekend will be dry, but I do want to let you know that next week will be super cold. We're talking about highs only in the 30s like Tuesday and Wednesday, lows dropping into the teens Wednesday morning. So next week, super cold, and of course, we're going to keep you up to date on that as well in the First Alert Weather app. Unfortunately, this is obviously not the first time that we've had a severe weather risk. I'm going to take you back to the tornado risk graphic. You can see that brown again, indicating the higher risk south of Metro Atlanta. That's the same area that saw tornadoes exactly 1 year ago, and we have a special that we are airing on that. We've had our meteorology team go down to areas south of Metro Atlanta to talk about that anniversary again just 1 year ago when we were seeing a very similar setup. So we do have Joy, Atlanta News First Joy, who is here with us. And I'm going to switch over to our live camera first so you can sort of get an idea of what's happening outdoors right now.
I'm sorry, Rodney, I was not trying to photobomb you.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can stand wherever you want. But that's the clouds that we're seeing out there, Joy. So the clouds, maybe a few showers right now, and then again that risk of severe storms increasing, really storms later on this afternoon. And you're talking about the anniversary for what we were seeing really similar, like exactly 1 year ago today.
Yeah. In fact, I want to go ahead and show our viewers some of the footage from what we are referring to, the 1 year anniversary of these devastating tornadoes today. In Griffin and Spalding County, and just emphasizing this is what it looked like at the time, right? There's been a lot of recovery efforts that have been underway over the past year. So again, this footage from 2023, as you can see, absolutely several tornadoes absolutely devastated these parts of North Georgia. Again, 1 year to the date now, and although so much recovery has taken place, still a lot to be done as well. And again, there were 4 tornadoes on the ground at the same time there. including an EF3 that ripped through the downtown area, destroying many homes and businesses. A Hobby Lobby, for example, had its roof torn off, as you saw in some of the footage that we've been showing you. Today, that store is under construction, is on track to reopen soon, but the city manager, emergency management folks telling us quite a process getting this community in shape again. I want to play this piece put together by my colleague, Rebecca Schramm, who has spent this morning in Griffin, and she was there covering this all.
I'm at a location that really hasn't changed much in the last 12 months. This is the Vineyard Creek Apartments here in Griffin, and look at that. They've still got a tarp over this building. Management telling us they've had some setbacks with insurance, which has stalled the much needed repairs. But yeah, let's remind you of what Spalding County and the town of Griffin looked like 1 year ago today. We later learned after that morning that 4 tornadoes were on the ground at the same time here, including an EF3 that ripped through the downtown area. A Hobby Lobby, you might remember, it had much of its roof torn off. And today, some good news, that store is under construction and is on track to reopen soon. We spoke with a woman who lives in Covington, but she grew up here in Spalding County and she still has some property here. It's outside the city limits. Her childhood home on Kendall Drive was destroyed and it still has not been rebuilt. She says that tornado completely changed the landscape of this community.
This little patch of area over there, it is just really thick. I mean, that's how all of this area used to be. You couldn't see the house next door because of the thick foliage that the trees were, but now all of that is gone. I mean, the trees have been leveled down. From what I know growing up from here, 50 years ago, is nothing compared to where we are now.
Amazingly, with all that damage, not a single human life was lost here in Spalding County because of the tornadoes. A lot of folks are waking up this morning glad to hear from our meteorologist that the threat of severe weather and tornadoes has dropped significantly, but they had already canceled schools here as a precaution. In Griffin, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
Thank you so much to Rebecca for that report. And I just want to let everyone know, we have actually dedicated quite an extensive body of coverage to this 1 year anniversary of those devastating tornadoes in Griffin and Spalding County. And we actually have a special that we are airing right here on Atlanta News First Plus at 12:30 today and again at 7 p.m. So we can kind of take a look back and provide a little bit more context. But I want to bring in a very special guest, the best person really, to give us context here. And we're so lucky to have be able to have this live conversation here with the Spalding County Fire Chief and Director of Emergency Management there, Glenn Polk. Mr. Glenn Polk, thank you so much for being with us. I know you're very busy, but I also would imagine this is a somewhat emotional anniversary for you because you're not. This is a community that is such a part of who you are and that you're so involved in protecting.
Right. This is a tough day for us, and then with the threat of another round of severe weather, it just kind of brings it full circle for us.
So 1 year later, where are we in terms of the recovery efforts?
We have a resilient community. People just come out to help their neighbors. But with over 2,200 homes and businesses affected, damaged to destroyed, it's been a big undertaking, and it's been a long process. We're very blessed to have a long-term recovery team that are working every day to try to find out cases of people that just have needs, and they just trying to meet them where they're at to fill their needs.
Yes, and I'm going to play some of the video again showing the damage from 1 year ago. You know what? Now I think I'm losing your connection when I do that, so I'm going to hold off on that. But listen, I want to ask you because it's such a layered approach. Like you mentioned, just the extent of the damage. What is involved in the recovery here? What does it take? What are the daily tasks that your team and the community are involved in just to kind of get Griffin back to where it was?
I mean, first rule of thumb was getting all the roadways and access for emergency vehicles in and out, and it took a good 2 months through the end of March just to get all the debris taken care of. And then just trying to help people after they applied for the FEMA assistance and find out what the insurance would allow, and then just trying to fill in whatever gap there may be to fill their needs and just help them get on that road to get back to whatever their normal was.
Sounds like it's been a very stressful and overwhelming year, to say the least, and probably painful in a lot of ways.
True, but I tell you, with the community we have and the folks that come together, it makes it easy on everybody, and we're very blessed to have those folks.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's been amazing the way that the community seems to have come together. What do you think is still left at this point in terms of recovering and really getting this community back to where it was and where everybody wants it to be?
Just finishing up, finding out what if there still are any needs out there, trying to meet those, and then just the ongoing process of rebuilding and the cleanups on the different properties.
Yeah, so I'm so glad you're able to lay out this context, because now today here we are. It's the first alert weather day, and we're preparing for the possibility of severe weather in many places around the state. And I mean, your community lived through what the worst of the worst can be. So what is the preparation? What's the feeling today?
Even though we're fortunate that the threat level has decreased, but we don't want to let a guard down. We want to always be weather aware. We're prepared the best we can be for whatever we may be faced with, and we just don't want to be unprepared. So that's what we encourage in all of our community to do. Just stay weather aware and have your early notifications and be ready should something come our way.
When you say be ready, be prepared, what does that mean? What do you do to get prepared?
So already have some kind of preparedness plan in place, whether that's what is your safe areas, whether you're in your own home or out and about running errands or whatever. Then always main thing is having the early notification systems. We have one here in Spalding County we use called Civic Ready. That's an opt-in system that we would love for everybody to have that. But time is always of the essence. The sooner you get a notification of danger coming your way, the faster you can react and go ahead and put yourself in a safe area.
Do you think it's better to just go ahead and assume that it's going to be dangerous and make certain preparations? For instance, maybe if you have animals, go ahead and bring them in. Things like that. You want to put a tarp on certain things or tie things down that might fly away. Stuff like that. What do you think? Any other tips like that?
Definitely, anything you can do to be proactive to save you time to get yourself and your family into a safe area, the better. Time is always the toughest part of getting that preparedness event under control.
When you see the folks that have, maybe suffered damage or maybe injury because of severe weather, do you ever see things that they could have done that would have maybe changed the outcome, prevented a negative outcome?
I mean, there's always things, and that's why we promote preparedness all the time. But in the heat of the moment, people just do the best they can, and that's why we just try to promote the extra effort of being prepared to try to take all those variables out of that.
Yeah. Any tips, like just kind of little tips, for people, like should they unplug certain electronics, things like that? Should they, put away? I don't know. This is you're the expert here, but I'm thinking like a space heater. People are using space heaters this time of year. Is that something that you want to maybe just take out of the mix for today and unplug it, because God forbid there's a strong wind that comes and blows it over and it starts a fire? I don't know. Any advice like that?
Yeah, I would just say as long as you have that extra notification time, then you can take care of those incidents that may cause further damage or harm. So space heaters, especially this time of year, always go by the manufacturer's guidance on placement of that. But as long as you have that early notification, then you can address those so they don't even cause any further damage or harm to your family.
Any other thoughts or advice for our viewers?
Like I said, just the early notification is the biggest key, and just going, not being complacent. Just expect the worst, and we always hope for the best. And we're ready. If anybody needs anything, we're already have our team geared up and ready to go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and being prepared. you've been emphasizing, and also the notifications. I mean, we provide notifications on Atlanta News First. If folks download our free mobile news app, they can get notifications sent right to their phone as well. Are there some other notifications you think that people need to take advantage of?
Right. Weather radios are a good backup. But like I said, we have an early notification system here in Spalding County that's free of charge, and it's on our SpaldingCounty.com website registration page under Homeland Security. So just opt in, and you can even tailor it to the alerts you want to receive and how you receive them, whether it's text, phone call, or email.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Glenn Polk, joining us. We know that it's a very busy day for you, Director of Emergency Management there, Spalding County Fire Chief. We so appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. All right. Have a great day and be safe. Of course, I know you will.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. I just want to share with our viewers some other video that just kind of puts into context what we're preparing for today. Because look at this. This is the result of the several inches of rain and the flooding caused around the metro in northern Georgia. This is actually in Covington, because remember earlier this week we had the first alert day. So now here we are with another first alert day a few days later. But this is some video from the RV park in Covington, and you see it was clearly still flooded, which we shot early yesterday evening. This is when this video was shot. Really serious flooding there. This EV park lives up to its name, Riverside, along the Yellow River there, and the river started rising and flooding into campers with Tuesday's heavy downpours. That's according to NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Their hydrograph on the Yellow River, they say that it rose 10 feet with Tuesday's rain. Covington officials, people living in that RV park, ended up performing a number of water rescues, unfortunately, is what they were forced to do. Thankfully, our first alert meteorologists are reporting a fairly low risk of flooding with only about half an inch of rain expected in that area today. But I mean, my goodness, I don't think they could take any more at all. Look at this, can't imagine when they're able to retrieve these RVs, what level of damage there's going to be. I mean, look at that. There's nothing but the roof sticking out for that particular car. The engines would presumably be washed out and destroyed. So some really serious effects there. I want to point you to this on our website because this is going to be really helpful for people. You probably know, if you're a parent, that there are so many school closings and delays happening today, but I just want to show this to you in case it impacts somebody in your life. Could be your niece or your nephew or a kid that you babysit, whatever the case may be. But as you can see, Atlanta Public Schools is just the after-school activity that has been canceled. School in session, but it's just the after-school activity that has been canceled. But you can see Clayton County Schools, Coweta County Schools, Dade County, Fayette County. Actually, I should say Fayette County appears to be remote learning, virtual learning today. Fulton County Board of Health is closed. If you were trying to perhaps run an errand there or something like that, report a health violation, perhaps not the day to do it. Georgia Piedmont Technical College is closed. Griffin Spalding County Schools closed. Henry County Schools closed. Jasper County early dismissal by 2 hours. Meriwether County Schools virtual learning day. Newton County Elementary Schools early dismissal. Looks like 11:15 on Friday. Newton County High Schools early dismissal. Newton County Middle Schools early dismissal. Pike County Schools closed today. Troup County Schools closed today. We do have this on AtlantaNewsFirst.com if you want to check out these various closures and delays, because this is, there a lot of impact here as we are covering this first alert weather day. In the meantime, I do want to just take a moment to just update you on a little bit of other news that we are following, just some of the major headlines that we are following this morning as well. So right now, there is really a plea for your help. East Point Police are asking you to be on the lookout for this woman, 34-year-old Latasha Gant. So she's missing. She was last seen just before 1 o'clock this morning, leaving her home on Delow Drive. She was wearing a red long sleeve shirt, according to authorities. She had on red and white pajama pants. Her family is very concerned about her. They, not just because she's missing, but they have reason to believe that she may do something to hurt herself. So they're really, really concerned. They want you to please keep an eye out for her if you can. And if you do see her, again, her name's Latasha Gant, you are asked to just call 911. And, please just help get her home safely. So this, again, is in East Point, if you're in the area of East Point. Her family, Latasha Gant's family, is looking for her, very concerned for her. Also happening today is the funeral for a fallen Atlanta police officer. Officer Kenya Galloway was found unresponsive in his personal car at a police annex last Thursday night. As we reported to you here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Police say he is 44 years old. He was taken to Grady Memorial Hospital and he ended up passing away. And it all comes after a medical emergency. There will be a celebration of life to honor him, to remember him. It'll take place this afternoon at 1 o'clock at Passion City Church on Garson Drive in Atlanta. And obviously, condolences to the Atlanta police community, the law enforcement community, who's suffered several tough losses in recent weeks. Also, we're following the latest surrounding the lawsuit against UGA. So some bombshell allegations now from the survivor of a crash which killed a UGA athletics staffer and football player. Victoria Bowles, a UGA recruiting analyst, was a passenger in the Ford SUV that Chandler LaCroix was driving. LaCroix, along with football player Devin Willock, died. Bowles suffered some serious injuries here. Bowles is now claiming that drinking and driving by staffers was very common at recruiting events. Atlanta News First has reached out to UGA about these new accusations. We are still waiting to hear back on this. Of course, we're going to let you know as soon as we do learn more information, but some really explosive allegations now in this UGA lawsuit. Also want to let you know, of course, we continue following the latest with the YSL trial. And this RICO trial, high-profile RICO trial, is actually on recess today. Court is dark today. It is on recess until January 22nd, actually. But in the last day of testimony before this break, 11-day-long break, we heard from a former co-defendant, Trontavious Stevens, who took the stand. And the judge and one of Young Thug's attorneys, Young Thug, real name Jeffrey Williams, that's his attorney right there, Brian Steele, they really kind of haggled over whether to let a music video be played as evidence. And the judge ultimately said no, saying Stevens is not a relevant witness to testify about the video. The judge then said he would consider having that music video shown as evidence if there are any relevant witnesses testifying on it. But that, again, is Brian Steele, the defense attorney for Jeffrey Williams, also known as Young Thug. There's Mr. Williams. And, just to kind of recap here, the allegations are that Mr. Williams founded or co-founded a gang, the YSL Young, alleged to be a gang, YSL Young Slime Life street gang. It is alleged to be a criminal enterprise, and the prosecution has been building a case that this is a criminal enterprise, that all 6 defendants were involved, that Jeffrey Williams was the ringleader, and that there were numerous illegal acts and crimes that were committed in furtherance of this criminal enterprise that these defendants are guilty of. That is really the crux of the lawsuit here. So the gentleman that has been testifying throughout this week Trontavious Stevens, he is a former defendant in this case, but he took a plea deal and he turned state's witness. And he had been in Rice Street Jail. There he is on the left side of your screen, who's wearing that sweatshirt. And he took a plea deal, agreed to testify against the other defendants in this case. He has testified that, yes, in fact, YSL was a criminal street gang. And he, Trontavious Stevens, claims that he was a co-founder of this gang with Jeffrey Williams. The two of them founded this gang together. And he has testified in court that all 6 of the defendants on trial right now are gang members, are members of the YSL street gang. So this is something we have been bringing you live gavel-to-gavel coverage of here on Atlanta News First Plus. But again, court is dark today. It is dark until January 22nd when it does resume. Encourage you to check it out on our special event stream because you can watch this live inside the courtroom. And it's been really juicy, honestly. I mean, we've heard some explosive testimony. There are parts of, honestly, that are not as exciting because that's the nature of court and trial. But you know, when we heard that testimony from Trontavious Stevens saying point blank that all 6 people on trial are guilty of being gang members, you know, that was some really explosive testimony. Of course, you know, our main focus today really is the weather, what's happening weather-wise. It is a first alert weather day. Our team of meteorologists have been tracking, you know, the potential for some severe weather that is on the way. And it also falls on the 1-year anniversary of these devastating tornadoes in Spalding County. Again, you know, if you're just joining us, here's a look now at this footage from 1 year ago in the town of Griffin, where several tornadoes tore through these parts of North Georgia. 1 year to the date, many parts of this county still have not recovered. You know, a short time ago, we were talking to Glenn Polk, the Spalding County Fire Chief and Emergency Management Director there in Spalding County, who was telling us that the efforts are ongoing, that, you know, there's still so much recovery to be done here. But 4 different tornadoes were on the ground at the same time there, including an EF3 that ripped through the downtown area, destroyed many homes and businesses, dozens in fact, and a Hobby Lobby had much of its roof completely torn off. So that store is under construction. It is on track to reopen once again, but still a long way to go in terms of recovery. The city manager and the emergency management folks are telling us it's quite a process getting the community to get back in shape again. We did speak with one of the residents at an apartment complex called Vineyard Creek, which got really hit hard, and you know, he told us it's unforgettable what happened exactly 1 year ago. I mean, the remarkable thing with all this is that despite all the damage that you've seen, not a single human life was lost in Spalding County because of the tornadoes. So sort of a miracle, a lot of people have said. Of course, today, exactly a year later, we've got another risk of severe weather. The tornado risk is down. That is the good news here. But as our weather team has been warning, there is a risk of severe weather. And they have reported a possibility of tornadoes in some instances, but that is a lower risk now. And in this county that we're looking at, they have decided to close schools as a precaution. And just a reminder, let me pop up on our screen again, that numerous schools and other bodies have been closed for today because of this severe weather. But on this 1 year anniversary of those devastating tornadoes in Griffin, my colleague Rebecca Schramm has spent the morning there taking a look back and really a look forward. Let's listen.
Some setbacks with insurance, which has stalled the much needed repairs. But yeah, let's remind you of what Spalding County and the town of Griffin looked like 1 year ago today. We later learned after that morning that 4 tornadoes were on the ground at the same time here, including an EF3 that ripped through the downtown area. A Hobby Lobby, you might remember, it had much of its roof torn off. And today, some good news, that store is under construction. construction and is on track to reopen soon. We spoke with a woman who lives in Covington, but she grew up here in Spalding County and she still has some property here. It's outside the city limits. Her childhood home on Kendall Drive was destroyed and it still has not been rebuilt. She says that tornado completely changed the landscape of this community.
This little patch of area over there, it is just really thick. I mean, that's how all of this area used to be. You couldn't see the house next door because of the thick foliage that the trees were, but now all of that is gone. I mean, the trees have been leveled down. From what I know growing up from here, 50 years ago, is nothing compared to what
station there. And look, this is what is the situation in Covington right now. Just, remembering that many of our areas are still recovering from a first alert weather day that we had earlier this week. Also, just letting you know that at 11:30 we are going to bring you more coverage of this first alert weather day and get everyone prepared. And again, point you to atlantanewsfirst.com or our free mobile news app if you want to check out the different closings and delays that are happening today. And just a reminder that, as I've been showing you this footage of what happened in Spalding County 1 year ago, the devastating tornadoes, that we do have a special put together to air at 12:30 and 7 o'clock today, looking back at the devastation and really the amazing recovery efforts. Thank you so much for being with us. We will continue our coverage here on Atlanta News First Plus.